Welcome, welcome, and welcome again to a new DJ Wilson STEM video. This particular video, I want to explore chapter 1 and 2 of our textbook, Exploring Design, Technology, and Engineering, the 3rd edition by Goodhart Wilcox and Thomas Wright, Ryan Brown. All right, so let's do this. So our agenda, we're going to cover the chapter 1 essential question. We're going to dive into what is technology, what does technology involve, what influences us as a people to create technology, the 4 types of knowledge, types of technological knowledge, systems, the design process, and the project. Because obviously with anything that we do, there's going to be some type of build or some type of project that furthers our understanding of the topics. All right, so the essential question for Unit 1, Chapter 1-2 that I want you to kind of think about is, what is technology to you? And how does it influence your life? Now, this is actually going to be part of our Unit 1 summative assessment, our Unit 1 test. But I don't want you to write your response yet, because I want you to include information that we're going to learn from Chapter 1 as well as the Unit 1 projects, okay? But this should kind of like be in your head. So, 1, technology. I want you to make sure you write these things down, right? The definition of technology in our textbook is the use of knowledge, tools, and systems to make life easier and better. But one of the things I want to point out here is that technology is not just one thing, but it's anything that we as humans use to make life better. So, a remote control, a light, pencil, all these different things are technology, any things that humans have created. Okay? So I'm going to cover some things, and during the course of the video, I will share with you things that I want you to make sure that you write down, but then there are some things I want you just to keep in your brains for just background knowledge. Okay? Now this is one of the things I just want you to think about. This one I definitely want you to write down. And that is, technology has the potential to help us live our lives better. It has both positive and negative influences. It has its own history and it has its own vocab. So when we talk about technology, it has the potential to help us live our lives better, right? Or help us live better lives. There are very many benefits of technology, right? But technology also has some negatives, right? So it's positive, like vehicles. We created cars to help us live our lives better, to get places better. But they also have some negatives, right? Such as pollution and car accidents. So they have potential to help us live our lives better, or live better lives. And they have both positive and negative influences. But they also have their own history. Not all the cars that we see today are not the original cars that were created over 100 years ago, right? The cars now are better, faster, more durable, right? Technology also has its own vocabulary. Not the same terminology that we use now isn't the same terminology that was used 100 years ago. And in the future, there's going to be new terminology. There's going to be new vocabulary. Okay? So, for example, 100 years ago, they didn't know what Wi-Fi was because Wi-Fi hadn't been created, nor Bluetooth. A Bluetooth 100 years ago was somebody's teeth that turned blue. They ate so much, blue water rice or something. I don't know. But those are things to think about, right? So it has its own history and its own vocabulary. Now let's get on some of this stuff. Now, I do not want you to write this down, but just it's for basic knowledge. Early humans lived outdoors, and they harvested plants for food, and they didn't necessarily, know how to grow things at first, but over time we learned how to harvest plants for food. Um, we developed tools for farming, as we got better with technology and creating different things for our needs and our wants. We got better creating things to be able to do things. We got better creating tools to farm and building things for our houses and building things for planes and building things to explore the earth or satellites, and then building things to explore, or satellites that explore the universe. Okay. We built off of previous knowledge to continually improve devices and processes. Now, this is innovation. This term right here, this particular final point, an innovation is taking something that already exists and making it better. You don't need to write that down here, but we're going to get to, we're going to talk about innovation a little bit later. All right. So there's a few things that technology involves. And what I'd like you to do is write down these 4 things: tools, processes, knowledge, and actions. But I'd like you to leave maybe like 2 or 3 lines in between each one, because we want to take some time to define these. Okay? All right. So, tools. Tools are objects used to create something, such as pencils, pens, rulers, and hammers. All right, screwdrivers, all those things are tools. And then you have processes. So one of the things that we learned about technology is not just something tangible that you can touch, but it's also the step-by-step actions that we take to do something. So when I tie my shoes, I take one loop, I take my shoelace, I pull it tight, I take one loop, get another loop, wrap around, over, under, through, pull, done, right? That is technology. Knowing how to do something is technology, because it's something that humans created. Okay? Knowledge, which is human understanding, our knowledge of stuff, our knowledge of space, our knowledge of time, our knowledge of plants, animals, and that is technology. And finally, our actions. Our actions are the physical act that humans do to create something. Okay? So anything that's technology involves these 4 things: tools, processes, knowledge, and our actions. So there's many things also, and I want you to make sure you write these down, right? There's 5 major things, and we're not going to really go into these too much, that influence us as humans to create technology, right? So there's our ambition, which is our passion, our desire. Vision, which is based upon a need to create something. Control, we create things to control other things, such as we create laws to control behaviors. We create light switches to control the power to lights. We create remote controls for our games to control what happens in the game. We create remote controls to control our TV, or to control our remote control car or drones or whatever we're doing. We also create things to be creative. So we create different color pencils or markers to make things colorful. We create things based upon innovation. We want to make something better. This is what I was talking about in the previous slide. That is, something that's already been created, we take it and we want to make it better. Now there's 4 types of knowledge. All right, and again, just like we did before, I'm going to put these up here, but I want you to, write these 4 things down, and I want you to leave some spaces or some lines in between each one. All right. So, scientific knowledge. I'd like to say scientific knowledge is this is what you do in your science class, right? Science seeks to explain the world around us. So it describes plants and animal kingdoms, land, water, and air, and different laws, principles governing the universe. So scientific knowledge is understanding gravity, you know, looking at food. Why is this food healthy for you? Why could it not be healthy for you? Scientific knowledge is looking at plants and what type of plant is this? What kind of animal is this? Is this water polluted? Is this water not polluted? It's also climate and climate change and how is the atmosphere changing? That's scientific knowledge. And then you have humanities knowledge. Humanities knowledge, this is what you do in social studies. So it explains society, people's religion and morals and their values. It also explains family ancestries. Where's your family from? How did you become who you are? What influences those things that caused you to become who you are? Okay? History and communities around the world. In America, in the United States, we've developed, actually, we can even, 30 minutes to say the United States, but state by state within the United States. Certain states have all 4 seasons. And some other states, they really only have maybe 2 seasons, right? And where we are, we certainly do have winter, spring, fall, and summer. We have them all, and they're very distinct. And that could explain why we do some of the things that we do. Development of societies. It also why is our government the way that our government is? Also, descriptive knowledge. Descriptive knowledge, this is what you would do in math and ELA class. So, descriptive knowledge, it describes ideas and objects and events. But how does it do that? It uses various symbols. So it uses alphabets and numbers to show relationships and value, and uses lines, shapes, and forms. So, for example, descriptive knowledge is in your ELA class, it's your alphabet, right? But you put letters together to make words. And then you put words together to create sentences, and then sentences together to make paragraphs, and paragraphs together to make books, right? That's descriptive knowledge. And numbers, just the same. You get numbers to create value. And then when you add those numbers together, 1 + 1 equals 2. 2 + 2 equals 4. Okay? That's descriptive knowledge. And finally, where we're going to spend a lot of our time is technological knowledge. And technological knowledge explains the human-made world. Because again, that's what technology is. It's the things that humans have created. And it describes how to use tools and materials and how to design and produce various things. And again, remember, one of the goals of technology, right, is to create things that help us live better and healthier and better lives. Okay? Now, within technological knowledge, and again, I want you to maybe start maybe a little bit, maybe indent a little bit. We want to talk about there's 7 types of technological knowledge. And again, I'm going to put all these up here. But what I want you to do is leave some spaces in between each of these, because we're going to define them next. So again, you have agricultural, construction, energy, information and communications, manufacturing, medical, and transportation. All of these are 7 types of technological knowledge. All right. So the first that we discussed was agricultural. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down knowledge, understanding, and ability to use. That's going to be the first part of each one of these definitions, okay? So knowledge, understanding, and ability to use. Knowledge, understanding, and ability to use. So agricultural knowledge is our knowledge, understanding, ability to use machines and systems to raise and process foods. So it says systems here. We'll explain systems shortly, okay? But just write this definition down. But I also want you to write down some of the context and some of the narrative that I'm giving you, okay? So when we're talking about knowledge to use machines and systems to raise and process foods, you'll see these pictures. You'll see there's a field of crops, vegetables, and different things that we eat. It's our knowledge to be able to plant those seeds and for them to grow, and for us to understand how to harvest them, and then how to make sure that they're good enough to eat, and then for us to consume them. It's the same thing on the right hand side, where you'll see there's animals and livestock, right? You'll see there's chicken as well as cows. Okay, it's our knowledge, understanding, ability to raise them in a healthy way, or in a way, and then be able to use different things to consume them. And then the second type is construction knowledge. Construction knowledge is our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to erect buildings and other structures. So we're talking about construction, we're talking about being able to build stuff and create things, okay? Whenever you hear me pause, I'm just giving y'all some time to write. Okay. So then you also have energy. And energy, obviously, is our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to convert, transmit, and apply energy or power. And again, I have 2 instances down here. Obviously, you'll see wind power. And on the right-hand side, you'll see nuclear power plants. But the thing is, how do we get that energy that's created at these various places to our homes? And so that's transmitting that through the power lines that we see overhead or underneath the ground. That power is transmitted. And then when you go home, right, and you go in your room and you flip on a light switch, well, how does that get from there, transmit to your home, and then to the light switch? All of these things are energy, okay? Our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use energy for what we need it to do. And then there's also communications. Communications is our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to collect, process, and exchange information and ideas. So obviously on the left-hand side, you'll see the computer transmitting information, right? Right now, this computer is going out to YouTube and gathering this video, and YouTube, their server sending the video back. That information being exchanged there. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see the global network of all these computers working together to provide us information. Okay? So that's communications. Those of you who were in my 6th grade class, remember we did that binary code project where you wrote your name in binary code using all those zeros and ones, right? That's communications. That's how information is sent. And then there's manufacturing. Manufacturing is knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to convert natural resources into products. So how do we convert a tree into a pencil? How do we convert a tree into paper? How do we convert something into ink, or fluids into ink? All of those are considered manufacturing. Now, I'd also like to say this is mass production as well. How do we mass produce things? All right. And then there's medical knowledge. Medical is our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to treat diseases and maintain the health of living beings. So, obviously, you'll see the vaccines, and doctors, and nurses, and different treatments that we get. It's all a part of medical knowledge. But it also includes understanding how viruses work. When we get a cold, it's a virus, and what does the virus do? And maybe our ability to do things to help treat the person when they have a cold. Or bacteria. If we're touching something, we get bacteria and we ingest it. Why do we get sick, or why does it harm us? And what can we do to prevent those types of things? All of this is a part of medical technology or medical knowledge. And then finally, transportation. Transportation is our knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems to move people and cargo. Now, once we get to this more, it's moving people and cargo from an origination point to a destination, but we'll just leave this here for right now. But there's so many different areas of transportation. There's flight, there's vehicles, there's trains. All of these different things are used to move people from one place to another. And that's transportation knowledge. Now, previously we were talking about knowledge, understanding, and ability to use systems. Well, you might have been wondering, well, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Deke J. Will, what are these systems that you're talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let's do this. Let's talk about these systems. So systems are defined as, and again, please make sure you write this down, a group of parts working together to complete a task. So it's parts of something that are working together. So let's look at this. There's natural systems. There's two main types of systems: natural systems and technological systems. And natural systems are systems that appear in nature without human interference. And technological systems are human-made systems. But I also like to break this down a little bit. A system could also, if you want to just break it down, a system is also like your body, right? You have motion systems, which are like your legs. You have control systems, like your arms. You have stability systems, your core, right? You have a control system, in a sense, which is maybe like your brain and your brainstem. All of these are systems that are working together so that your body can and hopefully do what it's supposed to do. Okay? But then sometimes you have systems that make up systems, right? So your arms have an elbow, a shoulder, a wrist, and all of those are systems that make up the system of your arm that makes up the body. So when we're looking at systems, we're looking at all of these different things, okay? So let's get into more about systems. So systems have goals, which is the purpose of the system. Then systems also have inputs. And these inputs are things that the system uses to complete its goal. And then you have processes. Processes are actions taken by the system to create what it's supposed to. And then the outputs are what the system has done. Let's go into this a little bit further. Here's an example. So just say we want to create a TikTok. So the inputs of that particular system would be, we need a camera, we need a person or people, right? We need memory cards, we need batteries, we need life, we need these things to be able to create this, right? And then the processes would be, we write the script, we go to the location that we're going to record, and then we upload it. And then the outputs are, we made a lit video on TikTok that went viral. Okay? Now, as we begin to start wrapping up Unit 1, one of the number one things that we need to make sure that we focus on in learning and mastering is the design process. Now, the design process, I like to call it the design process of creation, is used in every single area of technology and problem solving. And we'll explain this in a minute. Okay? But the design process uses our knowledge of various things to create and solve problems. And so it's made up of 4 steps, and we'll go over these first 4, and just like we've done before, I'm going to list them here. But I want you to make sure that you leave a line or 2 in between each one. So design, producing, using, and assessing. These are the 4 stages of the design process. All right. So in the design stage, first thing we want to remember is that all technology begins with an idea. So anything that humans have created, somebody had to think about something first, right? Let me think about what I'm going to make. And most designs start with somebody identifying a problem or an opportunity to build something, right? We created vaccines because people were constantly getting sick and dying, right? Or we created vehicles to get places faster. We created planes to get places even faster than by vehicles. We created clothes so that we could be warm, right? We created shoes so that our feet wouldn't be stepping on rocks as we walk around. We created chairs so that we could sit and relax. We created air conditioning so we could be cool. We created houses, right? All of these things started as, let me think about a problem, or I'm thinking of something, okay? So after I think of, or after I've identified a problem and I thought of ways to solve the problem, then I'm going to produce my solution. So let's give an example. In the design stage, my shoe's untied, okay? In the producing stage, I'm going to tie my shoe. So I bend down and I tie my shoe. In the producing, it is the physical creation of the idea that we thought of in the design stage. So in the producing stage, I bend down, tie my shoe. 1 loop, 2nd loop, put them together, over, under, through, bang, pull it tight. And then after I do that, then I use my solution. So if I'm using that same example of tying the shoe, right? Then I start walking around to determine if, my solution worked. So using is using and testing the item that was created. So I go around, I'm walking around to see if my solution worked. And then the last step of the design process is assessing. Did the item I made in the producing stage, did it do what it was designed to do? This is important. So, did it work? And if it worked, how well did it work? So using that same design of that same example of my shoes untied. So, at the design stage, my shoe was untied. And then I figured out I'm going to go ahead and tie my shoe. So it's step number 2 in producing. I bend down, tie my shoe. Step 3, I use it, I walk around, and then I assess in step 4. Did it work? Well, my shoelaces came untied because I didn't pull tight enough, and then also realized that I don't know how to tie shoes very well. So then I have to come up with another solution, or I need to learn how to tie shoes better. Okay? So that's the design process. Design, produce, use, and assess. So, wrapping that up, design, I think of a solution to a problem. Producing, I make the solution I thought of. Use, I'm using and testing the solution that was created. And assessing, did it work? Okay, with that being said, thanks for watching, and hopefully you got a lot out of this, and let's get